Sweet. All right. Thank you again for joining me. Why don't you just take a second and like tell me a little bit more about how long you've been working with TalentPop so far, what's been going well, what could potentially be going a little bit better, and just kind of like how things have been going so far.
Yeah, of course. So we started having a conversation around, how could we improve customer service at Art of Tea? We're a lean team here. And, in Q4 of 2021, really decided that we needed to kind of seek outside help and really just be efficient. So that's how we found TalentPop. And I would say that the integration process, it took a while, but I think part of that was, on us. It was also Q4, busy season. We also have quite a few SKUs. So I think, integrating that with a new VA is always going to that's going to take time. But besides, really just getting all the details narrowed down, I think the communication from the TalentPop team was really paramount to just really streamlining everything. It didn't feel like we were just talking with one person. We were presented with three different options and we picked one of the first three that was presented. So I think that also just goes to show the level of commitment that the TalentPop team had to really listening to what we needed, the type of person and work experience. I think initially we had felt that that was going to be the longest process, but it turned out really it was more or less just because we use a lot of plugins, a lot of systems, kind of streamlining the to-do list, the if-then scenarios is actually what took longer. And then once we picked our VA, I would say that the integration process with that and onboarding has also been really seamless. We utilize Slack, and I think that's what really has made a world of difference. Is there's daily communication there. We had a period of time, it was a week where our VA was actually out and the TalentPop easily had someone else step in. Obviously there's a little bit of backward motion when that happens, but it wasn't to the effect of like nobody knew what to do. So that was really, really great because, we're all humans and, people have to be out and that is what it is. But it was nice that it wasn't just like our VA was out and then, we didn't have anybody, so the TalentPop team really picked someone that works well with our internal team. There hasn't really been any pain points other than I think it really is just the integration process, which is really with onboarding any new customer service representative. There's always going to be the learnings. There's always going to be the questions. I think for us, we always encourage our VA to really kind of come to us with, how do you think you should respond before just asking like, oh, I don't know how to respond to this. What should I do? And I think that's been really good. But communication has been really easy, very seamless. I think our customer service team internally has really been excited about this partnership. When you've always had internal customer service, there's kind of that fear of, oh, well, are we going to continue to have our brand ethos, the brand voice, like what's going to happen? And it's been seamless. So overall, it's been a really great experience for us.
Beautiful. That's exciting to hear. And I'm glad to hear that everything worked out as well as it has so far. And hopefully we continue going down that growth trajectory with you guys. Because I know that like after doing my research, after talking to Michelle a little bit about things this morning, she had nothing but good things to say about you guys, your internal team, how you guys have been growing. And it seems like it's been like a nice, helpful match across the entire board here. And you're totally right. Like when it comes to integrations, like first of all, like our recruitment team, they do such a really great job. Like I can't thank them enough for like how good they do it. Just kind of like listening to your needs. What are the wants? What are the nice to haves? What are the must haves? And being able to present you with the options that we think are the best fit based off your needs. But then once we do bring on that selection process, they've already went through our internal training, but obviously the most important thing is to spend our time on the brand specific training, which for you guys with the depth of product that you guys have, it definitely is a little bit, it takes time to understand all the product that you guys have on site. When it came to what you conducted the training process, did you start off by teaching them pieces of the puzzle and have them go live and then have it expand? Or were you like, hey, let's go through a really in-depth training? I want to train you in everything across the board and get you in. And then also, how did the adaption of like brand voice, brand tone, come into play with you guys?
Totally. Yeah. So I think for us, because we have such an extensive SKU list, really going bit by bit in terms of like learning about the product first and then some of the different apps, we work with Recharge, like we work with Shopify, we work with HubSpot. So there's definitely tools where it didn't seem, at least for us, to make sense to try to do everything all at once. In our brand specifically, we actually are really, we have a lot of tools for education around our process. We have a really extensive blog. We also have an online course with videos that we gave our VA free access to watch and to learn. And I think that was part of the process too, was giving them that time to really learn about it before really just integrating them and throwing them in front of customers. And then kind of similarly, while learning the product, also learning like, okay, this is how the subscription model works for us. These are our options. And then from there, like these are how HubSpot tickets works. And then I think with the brand voice, the cool thing is really just the integration of the VA actually going through previous tickets and seeing like how our current customer service team speaks, the different languaging that they use, how quickly they respond, different ways of, some customers need a little bit more love and attention than others. And I think just really seeing that through the previous tickets, which is great because it doesn't really require anything on the brand's behalf. The TalentPop team is able to help kind of facilitate that once they're in the system. And then, I really think a big part of like the learning portion of it too is it's really just trial by error, and like trial by learning and trial by, getting things right. Like, it's all of that. Sometimes that's how we all learn. I mean, I know I learned best by doing. And so I think it is just kind of getting them integrated. Right now we don't have them on phones. It's just online. So, and I think that's been really helpful too, because we also are able to see what's going out, what's going in, and like provide any feedback, or even before they send anything, because it's written communication, we have eyes on that. But overall, I mean, like specifically, like when it came to choosing the person, I think everything really has been pretty seamless. I feel like there's one more question you asked. I don't know if I remember.
No, it's just the two. It's like, how do you start the training, and then brand voice, brand tone, but
and we have a lot of that too on our, on the marketing side. We have a whole brand deck that we shared in terms of like, different tasting notes, things like that. So
you did it the right way. I mean, you immersed them with all the content they needed to really become a subject matter expert in everything going on with Art of Tea. And it's like one of those things where, since the fact that they're only working with you guys, it's the same agent day one is the same as day 365. Hopefully, like it really gives them the opportunity to like soak into the way you guys like to do things, and hopefully even provide suggestions on the next steps and involvement of your existing CS process. And, after week one, knowledge gets better. After week two, knowledge gets better. I know they're not handling phone, but like once maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months into the role, as they feel more confident and comfortable answering the brand specific questions that you guys have coming in on a day-to-day basis, that's when you can easily transition them into handling phone support, if that does become a need on your end, to be able to create a more scalable solution. And I'm glad to hear, like during the time that they had off, like we ended up plugging in a lead agent to make sure there was no downtime. Those are like what we call lead agents, like a new thing that we launched earlier this year, probably in January of this year. So when someone's out of the office on your end, whether it's vacation, sick, whatever it happens to be, if we have it scheduled, we'll be able to have someone pop in. And those lead agents are like our senior level agents that we have on board the team. So like, though they don't really know anything about RT yet, they really know CS very, very well. And what we do is we try to leave a paper trail of training material. So maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but typically speaking, for all the brands we work with, we create like a wiki file behind the scenes. And it's pretty much like a step-by-step, like written process to your most common questions. That way, if that agent is out of the office or whatever, someone else can refer to that and hopefully answer 85% of the questions coming in, where it's less of a burden on your end. Is it going to be the same as your dedicated agent? Absolutely not. Is it going to make it so you're not crying on Monday morning when those tickets are piled up? Absolutely. And that's kind of like all we can ask for at that point.
Yeah. And like I said, what's nice too, is it feels like they are integrated into the team. It doesn't feel like an extension in the way of like, oh, they're totally off doing their own thing. It's like they're integrated into the brand. So when they are out, it's like a team member being out, where typically you wouldn't just have someone that can come in, but with TalentPop you do. So I feel like that's an added bonus.
Totally. And to be honest with you, like that's a pat, you should like pat yourself on the back for that, because there are some brands that do it right, and there's some brands that don't do it right. And I think the integration, making them feel part of your team, really allows them to continue to thrive in the role. When they try your product, when they love your product, when they're aligned to your brand, when like, I always tell people, like, we're going to make them part of the TalentPop team. They're going to hop on our monthly town hall meetings. They're going to be invited to all of our events that we have in the various cities that we host events in. But like, it's even better if you can kind of take them in on your weekly call, take them in on your daily huddles, like whatever it happens to be, because the more integrated they are, the more they're going to enjoy working with Hannah, the more they're going to enjoy working with the R&T team. And it's just going to create a more like successful relationship.
Totally.
At this point right now, are they able to handle just about all written tickets?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're, we're continuing to always kind of like update our product list, so there is changes on our end that there's always going to be questions about, but I would say like 90%, like they're able to handle on their own, which is great.
That's fantastic news. And then early on, when you were kind of like considering, I know you went through some due diligence after reading some notes from Kara and our CRM here. When it came to like getting started with TalentPop, what were some of your early on concerns? And then like after kind of running through this, like what would you tell someone that was kind of dealing with those same concerns when it's like, I've never done this outsourced thing before. I have our CS team, like we have a brand voice, we can't miss it. Like, what would you tell them, and kind of what were you thinking early on?
I mean, I think that, you know, in terms of like risk versus reward, like there's always going to be that with anything new. Like, of course, like, you know, I think anyone's feelings are going to be valid if they're feeling nervous about trying to integrate a whole new system. You know, that is just what it is. I think in business too, when, you know, especially when you're a smaller team or a smaller company, you feel like, you know, you're making an investment and you want you want to see that ROI. And for us, you know, because we'd never done this before, we didn't have anything to really, you know, look back on and be like, oh, this is what didn't work in the past and what we need going forward. So it was totally blank slate. But honestly, I think the communication is really what's been the best. I think because we're an LA-based brand, and I know that the TalentPop team that we mostly communicate with internally is in Costa Mesa. In terms of like just additional concerns, like it's honestly like just think of it as, you know, hiring anybody. Like you're always gonna, like, you don't, unless you have like solid references, or, you know, it's like an internal recommendation from somebody, you're never really going to know. And so I think it's the same risk of hiring any other customer service. And I think if you think of it too, as you're hiring this person to your team, like instead of looking at it as like a virtual agent, like on its own, you know, by themselves, it's like, okay, no, we're hiring this, but we're using TalentPop to source and vet, you know, all of the people. So if anything, it's just an added layer of like security of like who you're hiring, knowing that, you know, you're not having to spend excess time looking for the person. TalentPop already has that whole, you know, Rolodex of people to kind of, and what I was saying earlier of, we were able to say like the type of person that we wanted, what our product was like, kind of the energy we were looking for. And we only, you know, in the first round of 3 people that we were sent, we picked out of that first round. So I think it also saves time, which can be a concern for people too, where they might feel like, oh, I don't know who they're going to send us. So we're going to have to vet all these people and watch all these, you know, videos. And honestly, it's a lot less time, I think, than people think. So
yeah, we've been consistently trying to streamline it as much as humanly possible. And I think that like, if you can really bring on the right talent, like a lot of stuff really begins to solve itself, right? That's what I find. And like our recruitment team, they're crazy. We have a lot of layers to our recruitment process. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it might take over 100 applicants for us to bring on even one agent that we think is a really good fit for a brand. Like that's an absolute fact. And then from there, it's like, we send you options and you get to select and all of that type of stuff. But I'm glad to hear things have been going as well as they are. And then with Michelle, like I spoke to her prior, like I said before this meeting, and she's had nothing but good things to say about you guys and the brand and like how you guys are working as a team to just do great work. So kudos to everything that you guys have been doing. And I'm assuming on your end, like, has communication with her been smooth as well?
Yeah, honestly, it's been great. And, you know, I'm not in the day-to-day. That's really Bria, who's the lead in terms of like our internal customer service. But, you know, when I meet with Bria, she's really enjoying the process. She's really enjoying having the additional support, both from the agent and also just the TalentPop team. So, you know, I would be the first to know if there was an issue. And anytime I've talked to her about it, you know, she feels confident and secure. And like I said, you know, being a lean team like that speaks volumes, because, you know, we don't just hire anybody, or we're not just trying to like fill a void. Like we actually want to continue to make an impact through who we're hiring, and, you know, just making sure that we're getting the right people on our team.
That's awesome. I mean, as you guys continue to grow, we're here to support you as much as humanly possible. So if you ever need anything, you can email me directly, Kara directly, Michelle directly. You're on Slack with Michelle, like whatever it happens to be, like we're here to help however much we can. So any questions, any problems, any opportunities that you think exist, please don't hesitate to reach out, because our success is your success, and we want to be able to continue just move in that direction together.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, we're excited. I think too, it's great because, you know, as we're poised for growth, just continuing to know that if we did have to bring somebody else on for the holiday season, you know, we already have kind of a plan in place of, you know, we could work with you guys on that. And it just feels good having that in our back pocket, knowing that you guys are ready to help out whenever we're ready for it. So I appreciate that.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I appreciate you taking your Monday to spend some time with me, and I'm glad to hear it's been nothing but, you know, positive success here. So I'm going to talk to Michelle after this and share this conversation with her and make sure that she knows how great that her and the whole team have been doing. So I really appreciate you joining me today.
Awesome. Yeah, no, thank you. It's great to connect. And yeah, if there's anything I can do, let me know. And if you want to try any tea, shoot me an email, send you some.
I think I just talked to Michelle. I was like, yo, I'm talking to tea today. And she's like, I'm drinking their tea right now. So I might steal some from her.
Yeah, no, please do. Yeah, or take a peek at our website and let me know. I'm happy to, you know, share the love, share the tea. So
no, you're the best. Well, it was such a pleasure chatting with you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Cheers. Bye.